Hello, I'm Lorene Sauro, and I'm a certified functional nutrition practitioner. And I'm sharing information about gut health that may change your mind about what you think you should be doing for your gut. So, this is episode 2 in our series, Evidence You're Underfeeding Your Gut. So, unfortunately, the way information is presented to us in the world at large, when people write about a topic, they tend to get super specific. And especially when they're talking about feeding the gut, they talk about, this food is good for the, or eat fiber, or, have berries, or like that's going to be enough. No, it's not enough. And it doesn't even begin to address the concept of diversity, which is essential. Diversity is everything. It is essential for having a healthy gut that is resilient and can respond to all the challenges that the gut and our body face as we go through life. So, we're going to talk a little bit more about how you get more diversity into your gut. So, if we're going to be talking about the diversity that we need for our microbes, what I really want to talk to you about today is how a teaspoon can change your gut. So, this brings us to the concept of microdosing. And most people think gut health changes only when they overhaul their diet and they go on some mad new diet, throw out all the foods they were eating, start these new foods, start different proportions and timing and all this sort of thing. It's not the way it works. The microbiome doesn't respond best to big dramatic shifts. It responds to consistent small inputs. Teaspoons can change the gut faster than plates. And this is a big, important piece of information because if you're like me and you think about all this diversity talk, and it's like, where and when do I have time to eat all this extra food? Well, you don't have to eat a volume of extra food. You just have to increase the variety in small amounts, and you have to do it consciously so that you don't put too much in too soon. So, why is more not better? We've been taught that if a food is healthy, the more we have of it is good, right? But for the gut, large quantities often overwhelm digestion and microbial balance. Big changes can increase the bloating or discomfort someone might already be feeling, or start them feeling some increasing bloating or discomfort. It can stress digestion because the microbes are not there to digest all this new food. It may favor only a few microbial families because we can only eat so much food in terms of volume. We can't have huge diversity if we're trying to eat normal portion sizes. And microbes don't need large amounts. That's the important thing. They just need signals. So, what microdosing actually means? So, microdosing usually is about very small amounts of food to stimulate microbial activity without overwhelming the system, that being the key. And a teaspoon is more than enough. It introduces new fibers into your system so that the microbes that are there can feed on them. It will feed different microbial families because you'll be able to have different varieties of food that feed different families because you're only eating small amounts. And it can increase metabolite production. And remember that metabolites are what our microbes produce for us, and they help us function in many, many beneficial ways. So if you can increase metabolite production, then this is the goal, to have better function throughout the body. More importantly, it encourages diversity, and our diversity is the key to having a healthy set of microbes. The gut responds to variety and frequency, not volume. So why teaspoons are so powerful? Your gut microbes are incredibly efficient. They don't need a bowl of fermented vegetables. They just need exposure to such things. A teaspoon sends a microbial signal, introduces new substrates for the microbes to feed on, supports cross-feeding between microbes. The most complicated topic we're ever going to have when it comes to gut health is trying to understand cross-feeding, how one group of microbes helps another thrive. And what it's all about is small inputs. We're talking teaspoons, microbial communication, ecosystem shifts. So the ecosystem is our gut. And this is how the change begins so that people will start to get more from their food and feel better. So, what can be microdosed? Microdosing works especially well with foods that microbes love, but humans often overdo. So we want to cut the portion sizing. So examples include fermented foods, herbs and spices, seeds and nuts, polyphenol-rich foods, bitter greens. And again, you might say, well, I don't eat a lot of bitter greens. Well, you might not, but when people really like them, they eat a lot. The same with the seeds and the nuts, the same with the, putting extra herbs and spices on that they don't have to overwhelm it. And of course, diverse fibers. So that's going to come from a variety of different foods, but they do tend to be in the foods that we like so much in our potatoes and corn and various grains, legumes. So you don't need more food, you just need more types. So the focus should be just improving the different types of foods one eats every day. So why this helps a sensitive gut? Many people stop experimenting with food because everything bothers their gut. So with microdosing, you can reduce some of the digestive stress. Taking in a teaspoon of something is more than likely not going to cause severe digestive distress, except in rare exceptions when people have allergies of some kind. Builds tolerance gradually. So you're going to build up the number of foods that the person can tolerate by going very slowly with these small amounts, but increasing the diversity. And of course, because it's a small amount and because we're going slowly, the person's not going to be overwhelmed. Now, this will support adaptation because the microbes are going to adapt to everything that comes in and the other communications that they receive from the other microbes who are also being fed now. This is why small amounts are safer and more effective than dietary extremes. So what we want to do is stop all this talk about specific diets and just talk about quality and quantity of food and the categories of food, because we can divide all the food up into categories so that we know which foods feed which microbial families. Microdosing builds resilience. So resilience is a big word and it is used a lot with the talk about longevity. You live a longer life, the more resilient you are. Well, you live longer when your gut is more resilient too. So resilience is not about perfection, it's about adaptability. And when microbes are fed consistently in small amounts, diversity increases, metabolite production improves, digestion becomes more flexible, and symptoms often soften so that they're less pronounced. They may even go away completely. A lot of times they do. This is how a fragile gut becomes resilient. This is the foundation of food layering. This is one of the things that I teach in the gut balance method program. Microdosing is the gateway to food layering. Instead of relying on one superfood, you're going to add tiny amounts of multiple foods, feed multiple microbial families at once, and create a, if you like, microbial buffet. Teaspoons turn meals into ecosystems. Think about that. So this idea of using small strategic inputs instead of restrictive diets resonates with you, I do teach this approach step by step in my free training, the 4-step framework to build a resilient gut and a healthier you. The link is below this video in the description. It shows how you can to feed your microbes without changing your entire diet. I think that's something we all can relate to. And you can also learn more about the gut balance method in the link below in the description as well. And if you like this content, please hit like and subscribe to help us bring more of this content to you. Thank you.